Alright guys, today we're going to take notes over box and whisker plots. These do take a little bit longer than your 7-leaf plots, line plots, frequency tables, and histograms do, but it's just another way to graph data, so it's actually a pretty cool way to graph data. Unfortunately, Mr. Swanda interrupted my video, so I have to recreate it. So I apologize that I will not be writing with you. Please make sure that you have cut and glued your piece of paper into your notebooks. Do not just glue it, you need to cut it. Keep your notebook nice, neat, and organized. Otherwise you will start having issues. Okay, please make sure you're also dating up at the top. So, here we go. A box and whisker plot is a way of displaying the median, extremes, and quartiles of a set of data, and it shows spread. So we create box and whisker plots in order to show spread. Show how far apart numbers are spread, see where the spread is located, where it's mostly you can see it. And we do that by using means, medians, extremes, and quartiles. So in order to do that, in order to create a box and whisker plot, we find 5 numbers. So we have 5 data points that we have to find these. The first data point is the minimum, which is the smallest number. So you have to know what the smallest number in that data set is. The second is what we call the first quartile, or Q1 to abbreviate it, or sometimes you'll see it called LQ, which is lower quartile. The first quartile, or the lower quartile, is the median of the first half of numbers. Okay, I'll explain what that means later, but it is the median of the first half of numbers. The third number you need is the median, which is the middle data number. It is that number that is directly in the middle. Then the third quartile, or I should say Q3, excuse me. Nope, I was right, Q2. So third quartile, Q2, is the also known as upper quartile, UQ. So either one you may see. That is the median of the second half of numbers. So Q1, median of the first half, Q2, median of the second half, and then you have your median of the entire set of data. Lastly, your final number you need is the maximum. The maximum is your largest number. Just like minimum is your smallest, maximum is your largest. So those are the 5 numbers in which you need in order to create a box and whisker plot. If you need to pause the video so you can get that all written down. Next, we need to do our steps. So to find a box and whisker plot, to find all these numbers, we need to follow these steps. Step 1, you need to put the numbers in order from least to greatest. So down at the bottom, there's an example here. And this is where I got cut off. So this is where we are going to put our numbers in order from least to greatest. So right now I have 50, 55, 60, 70, 70, 73, 85. Then I have 90, 92, 95, and 96. So I have all of my numbers ordered from least to greatest. That's your first step. Your second step is to find the median. Find that middle number. So when I go back down below, I want to find that middle number. I'm not going to cross these numbers out because I need them again. So I can use pen kind of like I did. I used color. Or I can just use my fingers. One in front, one in back, front, back, front, back, front, back, front, back. So my median in this case is 73. And I'm going to box that 73 in, and I'm going to write that that is my median off to the side is 73. Okay, that median is what splits your data set up into 2 separate sets. I have the lower set, or the first half of the data, and I have the second half of the data, or the upper set. Okay, so this is the first half, and this is the second half. That median breaks your setup into your set of data up into 2 separate parts. So then your third step is to find the median of the upper half, the upper quartile, the second half of numbers. So I want to find the median of this upper set. So now I'm looking at, here's my upper set, here's that second half of numbers right there. Same thing, find the median, one in front, one in back, one in front, one in back. I'm left with 92, which means my median of the second half, or my Q2, is 92. Then I do step 4. I need to find the median of the upper half, of the lower half, the lower quartile. So I need to find the median, just like I did for the second half. I need to do it for the first half, or that lower half, which is this part right here. Find that median, one in front, one in back, front, back. I'm left with 60 as my quartile 1, the median of the first half. So far I have 60, 73, and 92. Your final step, step 5, to find your numbers, is you need to find the minimum and the maximum. And those are the easiest numbers to find because it's obviously the smallest, which is 50, and the greatest, which is 96. So we now have our 5 numbers. That's the first thing you have to find. You can't even draw a box and whisker plot until you have those 5 numbers. Okay? It shows the range of your data, your spread of your data. So now that we have the points, now we can draw a number line. So that's your first step. So first step is to draw a number line. Your number line is based off of the numbers that you have. Don't draw more than you have to. Also, count by equal intervals, just like we did with histograms. Count by something equal. I'm going to count by tens because it'll make it easier. So I'm going to start with 50 because 50 is my smallest number. Then I'll go 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay? And then I'll go from there based on the numbers that I need. But that at least gives me a starting point. So once I've drawn my number line, step 2 is to then plot the 5 data points. So my first number is 50. So I want to plot 50. I'm not plotting it on the number line, I'm plotting it directly above that number line. My next number is 60, so that's another easy one. I'll go directly above the 60 and put a dot. The next number is 73. Well, 73 is between 70 and 80, so I'm going to make 3 little tick marks so I know that I'm putting it on 73. That way I'm not just guessing, I'm being more direct about it. My next number is 92, so I'm going to do the same thing. Here's 90, 91, 92, and then I'm going to put a dot above it. And the last one's 96, so I'm going to keep going. 92, 93, 94, 95, 96. Go and put a dot above it. So I now have my 5 dots directly above my number line. Finally, your third step is to connect the Q1 and Q2 with a box. Okay? So here's what I mean. You're going to want a straight edge, piece of paper, ruler, whatever you need. I want to create a box. So I'm going to draw a line going up and down through Q1, because that's my Q1, going up and down through Q2. That's my Q2. And then I'm going to connect them with the box line. Notice all of that is connected with a box. I did my best to do straight lines so you guys could see them. Use a ruler, use a piece of paper, give me those straight lines. Be very precise with it. So you draw a box, connect Q1 and Q2 with a box, and then you need to draw the whiskers So whiskers are to your minimum and your maximum. So straight line out. Straight line out. Last thing you need to do is you need to put a line through the median. What I mean by that is you put a line through the median connecting it to your box. So I have box and I have my whiskers. That's why it's called a box and whisker plot. And that is what it looks like. So it's quite a bit of work, unfortunately, but in the end it's pretty cool and it shows you a good part of your data. Okay, because this breaks it up. So I have 4 parts. This is my first quartile. This is my second quartile. This is the third. And this is the fourth. If you think about it, this is 100% of your data, and it's broken into 4 parts. So 100% divided by 4 is 25, which means each quartile represents 25% of the data. The size does not matter. That's your spread. Spread has nothing to do with percentage of data in it. So that's your percentage of data. Everything is 25%. It is always, always, always going to be equal. So that is that. That's what it looks like. We're going to do a couple examples because honestly you can get some different case scenarios. So I'm going to flip. Write examples up at the top. I'm also going to write box and whisker plot up at the top so I know what I'm talking about when I look back. Okay, so here is an example. You'll be given numbers like 7, 14, 8, 10, 2, 4, 7, 9, 12. Okay? So we'll get those numbers. You always, first step, always put them in order from least to greatest. That's the first thing you need to do always. So I'm going to go, I have a 2. I'm going to cross it out. I have a 4. I have 2 7s. I have an 8. I have a 9. A 10. A 12 and a 14. And now I have my numbers in order from least to greatest. I can then find my minimum, my first quartile, my Q1, my median, my Q2, and my maximum. Hey, you can do it in any order you really want to. So last time we found the median first. If you want to just write down that your minimum is 2 and your maximum is 14, go for it. They're right there simple. That's the 2 easiest numbers to find. You obviously have to find the middle number next. You have to find that median. So 1 in front, 1 in back, front, back, front, back, front, back. My median is 8. That median breaks my numbers up into 2 sets. I have my lower set and my upper set. You can find whichever set you want first. So if I want to find that lower set first, here's my lower set, and I find the median, 1 in front, 1 in back. Well, I'm left with 2 numbers. So I have to remember, how do I find the median of those 2 numbers? It's the number that is directly between 4 and 7. If I cannot figure that out off the top of my head, I do 4 plus 7, which is, hopefully you guys got 11, and then I take 11 and I divide it by 2, and 11 divided by 2 is 5.5, which means 5.5 is my upper quartile, or my first quartile, my lower quartile. So you will not always have a direct median based on the number of numbers you have. You will have to find the median based on how I taught you. So same thing with the upper set, or that second quartile. Here it is, 1 in front, 1 in back. I have 2, so I need to find the middle number. If you see 10 and 12, hopefully you know the number that's directly in the middle of 10 and 12 is 11, and you don't have to do this at all. You only have to do this if you do not know what the number is directly in the middle. But otherwise, you will get 11 if you did 10 plus 12, which is 22. Divide that by 2 is 11, and you get the same answer. So then, you are then able to draw a number line. Start with 0, and I'm going to count by 5s this time because my numbers are so small. So I'm going to go 0, 5, 10, 15. And that's really all I need because my max is 14. So now I'm going to put little tally marks in between because 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then I'm going to plot my numbers. I have a 2. I have a 5.5, which is directly in the middle of 5 and 6. So I need to make sure I put it in the middle of 5 and 6. Then I have an 8. I have an 11. And I have a 14. I then need to take a straight edge piece of paper, and essentially all you're doing is your 3 middle dots get lines going up and down to create your box. Connect lines, connecting them, lines at the bottom, connecting them, and then connect your box to your whiskers, and you now have a box and whisker plot. And that's what it looks like. Use those straight edges. Here's another example. If I give you 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 11, 4, 7, hey, we'll stop there. First things first, put them in order from least to greatest. Make sure you guys can do that on your own. So I have a 3, I have a 4, I have a 6, a 7, a 9, 11, a 12, and a 15. Then I can find my minimum, my Q1, my median, my Q2, and my maximum. You can find your minimum and your maximum first because it is the smallest and the biggest number, so it is the easiest to find. Then you have to find your median. Your median at least has to be either the first or the third number you find. So 1 in front, 1 in back, front, back, front, back. I have 2 in the middle. So once again, you have to figure out what number is directly between 7 and 9. If you do not know, add them up. 7 plus 9 is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8. So your median is 8. Or you could just know that 8 is directly between 7 and 9. Now, I don't have the number 8 here, which means in order to break up my lower and my upper set, 8 is directly in the middle, so I draw a line where 8 would be. Where here, I did not count 8 because it was my median. I don't have it here, so I have to split it down the middle. Hopefully that makes sense, because here we don't count the median. Here I don't count it either, but I also don't have it, so I draw that line down the middle. I then need to find the lower and the upper, quartile 1, quartile 2. So here's my first set. Same thing, I have 2 numbers left. 4 plus 6 is 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So 5 is my quartile 1. I could also know that 5 is directly between 4 and 6. Same thing with the upper. I have 11 and 12. 11 plus 12 is 23. Divide that by 2 is 11.5, or 11 and a half. If you knew 11 and a half is directly between 11 and 12, you do not have to do the adding and dividing, but the adding and dividing will always work. Okay, so for homework, I'm going to ask you guys to draw the box and whisker plot on your own now that we did the numbers together. So now that you have the 5 numbers, draw that box and whisker plot for me. Then you guys are going to do one example fully on your own, which means I have to go to another page, because box and whisker plots do take up a lot of room. So here's your last set of numbers, and you're going to do this box and whisker plot fully on your own so I can see where we need to fix stuff on Friday and then continuing the next couple of days. So 23, 22, 16, 31, 28, 22, 19, 20, 21. Okay, we'll do one more. And 30. Find the minimum, maximum, quartile 1, quartile 2, median. Make sure you show me all of your work in your notebook. Work always goes in your notebook, nowhere else when we are doing notes. And then draw me that box and whisker plot. And then you are done with your notes, and we will practice box and whisker plots for a couple of days in class. So I will let you finish, and we will go over any questions that you may have. So come with questions that I can help answer in class on tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Bye-bye.